Okay, chapter 11, part 2. This is the morning after Mango left Izzy's house after lying to TJ about knowing how to read music. My actual salvation came the next morning while I was sitting at my desk highlighting my script. All the kids in the cast were highlighting their scripts when we were at Izzy's, so I got out my lavender highlighter and went through my script highlighting all the lines. I wasn't sure why they did this. Maybe because it made the script look more colorful and that could help with your acting? I was almost at the end of my lavender script when Mom came into my room saying, "Something strange just happened." "What?" "Well," she looked at me quizzically and said, "there was a knock at the door and I went to open it and no one was there, but this envelope with your name on it was on the welcome mat." I agreed that was strange. Then my turbo psycho imagination kicked in. Could it be a letter bomb? Or maybe it was filled with anthrax, that powdered poison that can kill you just by touching your skin. I got up from my chair and backed away from Mom. "Quick, throw it out the window and call 911. It could be dangerous, lethal." "Lethal? Don't be silly, Mango. Who would want to kill you?" That was something to think about. For starters, I wouldn't have been surprised if Brooklyn had put out a hit on me, since it turned out the joke was on her when I won the lead role in the musical because my success had caused her wicked fiendship with Haley Joanne. I'm going to do that sentence again. I wouldn't be surprised if Brooklyn had put a hit out on me, since it turned out the joke was on her when I won the lead in the musical and because my success had caused a rift in her fiendship with Haley Joanne. Yep, Brooklyn could possibly be out to get me. I said, "Hold the envelope up so I can see the handwriting." Mom rolled her eyes and held up the envelope. Nope, it wasn't Brooklyn, not her handwriting. I sighed and started toward Mom, but stopped, thinking Brooklyn could have hired an assassin to write my name just to throw me off. "Mango." Mom's lips twisted impatiently. "Are you going to open this thing or not?" Okay. I took the envelope. It was very light and flat. Nobody could make a bomb that small. I ran my hands over it, trying to identify the contents. There was something in there about the size of a tube of lipstick, but flat. Weird. I sniffed the envelope very tentatively. Nothing smelled like poison, whatever poison smelled like. As I held the envelope up to the light, Mom snatched it out of my hand. "Enough!" She ripped the envelope open and the zip drive fell to the floor. I ducked behind my bed. "Mango, stop being so silly. Slide it in the laptop and see what's on it." I stood and picked it up with the tip of two fingers, holding it as far away from my body as possible. Just before inserting it into the laptop, I asked, "What if it has a virus?" Mom threw her hands in the air and sighed and headed out of the room. "I give up. I don't do what you want with it. I'm through." I sat staring at the zip drive in my hand for the longest time before finally inserting it into the computer. I rolled away from the desk, expecting a horrific skull and crossbones to appear on the screen, glaring as the virus ate all of my Beyoncé albums and destroyed my hard drive. But none of that happened. Instead, a file appeared. It was titled Yo Juliet Scratch Tracks. I clicked it open. In it were all the songs Mr. Ramsey had sent home with me, but on MP3 files. I opened the first one, Duet Forever. A piano played, and I heard TJ's voice singing. He sounded great, but I kind of giggled when he sang my part, because when he sang in a high falsetto, his voice would crack. I hoped that wasn't the way I sounded to him. And then I realized he'd never heard me sing. Well, unless he'd seen that YouTube video, which now had over 2,800 hits and tons of comments, really positive ones. I wondered who these people were and wished I could thank every one of them. I spent the rest of the afternoon listening to all the songs. TJ must have figured out that I couldn't read music, because the song I said was my favorite, the one I couldn't wait to sing, was Romeo's Solo. Now he probably saw me as a music illiterate and a bad liar. So why did he go out of his way to help me? After dinner, I worked on learning the songs, At least I tried, but my mind kept wandering off to TJ, wondering why he recorded the songs for me, and thinking about how it was such a sweet thing to do. It was getting easier and easier to imagine him as Romeo. At our first rehearsal, the cast sat crisscross applesauce on the stage floor in a large circle and read the script out loud. I wish Izzy would have warned me about this, because I was totally unprepared to say things like, "Baby, you're the most beautiful boy in the world to me," or "I've never felt love like this before," or worst of all, "Yo, Romeo, what are you waiting for? Kiss me." I was probably purple as a plum. My biggest problem during the read-through was that I could barely be heard. Bob kept asking me to project and share my voice. I tried, but since he had to keep repeating himself, I don't think I was making much progress. Izzy had no problem projecting. People in Timbuktu could probably hear her lines. Now, my singing voice was very loud, so I just had to figure out a way to speak from the same place I sang from. Another thing I had to work on, in addition to learning lines, songs, and how to act. Thank goodness there wasn't much spoken dialogue in the play. Most of it was in song, so the read-through wound up being pretty short. Bob started blocking the first act. Izzy explained that blocking was mapping out where everyone would stand and move during a scene. She showed me a cool shortcut way to mark it in my script with a pencil so I could keep up with Bob and all the changes he was making. However, when Izzy saw my script and how lavender it all was, she whispered, "Girl, you're only supposed to highlight your lines, not everyone's lines in all the stage directions." I would have felt completely humiliated if she hadn't whispered, keeping it private between us. Still, I held my script close to my chest, hoping no one else saw how green I was. Izzy was kind and thoughtful and did her best to encourage me throughout rehearsal. I wondered how we had lost touch after kindergarten. She was the kind of friend a girl like me needed. I promised myself I would be as good a friend to Izzy as she was to me, and maybe we'd become besties one day. But I was determined to take it slow. About an hour into blocking, Boss Chloe sent TJ and me to the music room to work with Mr. Ramsey on our first duet. On the way down the staircase, I got up the courage to thank him for the scratch tracks. He nodded and smiled. It became clear to me that this scary, weird, cute Kiwi, green-eyed guy was probably just as shy as I was. That helped me relax a little. At the door to the music room, TJ asked, "Did you work on the songs?" I smiled. "Yes, constantly." "Cool. So there's no need to tell Ramsey you don't read music. He's a real snob when it comes to musicianship. If you don't know the melody, just fake it." "I will, thanks." The hardest part of our first music rehearsal was trying to stop my hands from shaking while holding the sheet music, but I was grateful to have the music to glance at as an excuse not to look at TJ. Mr. Ramsey was encouraging us to sing to each other after all. It was a duet, and we were supposed to act like we were falling in love. Still, even though I had memorized most of the words to this song over the weekend, I kept my eyes on the page. I wasn't ready to look at TJ or any boy with lovey-dovey eyes. End of part 2 of chapter 11.